Hey Niners faithful, let's talk real for a second because there's a lot to unpack after that last game. You know that feeling when you walk away from a game and you're not just upset about one play, but the whole vibe of the thing? That's where I'm at right now. It's not about one missed tackle or one interception or even a bad series. It's about what this game says about where we are as a team. Every fan watching has their own filter, right? Some of you see everything through the lens of injuries because we've been burned by that before. Others see it through the offense or the defense or even the coaching decisions. But big picture? This one felt weird. It felt like we didn't play 49ers football, and that's what sticks the most. A lot of people in the comments are saying the same thing. We need Brock back. We need Ricky back. And that's fair because those two guys make a difference. Ricky had been playing like a man possessed earlier this season. He brought energy, intensity, and that edge we've been missing the past few weeks. When he's on the field, the defense feels different. You can see it in the way the line moves and how the coverage reacts behind him. The hope is that he's close to returning. It's been longer than anyone expected, and with knee injuries, you never really know. Sometimes they clear up fast, other times they just drag forever. But even a limited Ricky would help this defense regain some of its bite. And yeah, I've seen the comments about Houston. Someone said, "We lost to the Texans. They're trash." And I get the frustration, but hold up, that's just not true. Houston doesn't suck. They might not be elite, but they're not a bad football team. They've got one of the toughest defenses in the league, and their numbers prove it. People forget they've been competitive in every game this season. Before facing us, they had a positive point differential, which says a lot about how well-coached and balanced they are. We walked in thinking their record told the full story, but it didn't. This team can hit hard, and they show that on Sunday. I think what threw everyone off was watching them struggle on Monday Night Football against Seattle. They looked flat. They looked lost. So we assumed we were walking into a game against a broken team. But football doesn't work that way. Every week is different. Every matchup has its own story. The Texans came in angry, motivated, and disciplined, while we came in flat. That's not about talent. It's about preparation and execution. You can't tell me a team that's flying around with that kind of energy is bad. They made us look bad, sure, but that doesn't automatically make them terrible. Now, I'll say it straight, we were awful. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. The offensive line struggled again. Anytime we face a front with serious power and speed, we look shaky. The protection collapses, the run game loses rhythm, and our timing on passes completely falls apart. You can't sustain drives when you're constantly in third and long situations. The trenches were a disaster, plain and simple. That's not a scheme thing. That's not even about play calling. That's about execution and physicality. And on Sunday, we didn't bring enough of either. But here's where things get interesting. The injuries we picked up in that game don't seem to be long-term. That's huge. Kyle Shanahan mentioned it after the game. And while we'll know more soon, there's some optimism that this team won't be as banged up as it looked. And when you pair that with the upcoming schedule, oh man, things could get fun again. Over the next 6 games, only one opponent even has a winning record. 4 of them have 2 wins or less. That stretch is the perfect chance for this team to rebuild confidence, get some rhythm, and recover some bodies. Now, even with guys out, we've got talent. But there's a difference between talent and cohesion, and that's what's missing. Brock Purdy brings that. He brings rhythm. He brings poise. You can feel the offense calm down when he's on the field. Jones has done his best, and there were moments where he looked solid. I'll give him credit. There was that one run up the middle for around 12 yards where he actually looked fast. But the issue is mobility. He's just not that kind of quarterback. There was one play where he basically ran into his own lineman because the pocket collapsed and he didn't have the quickness to escape. That's where Brock changes things. He doesn't panic when the pocket breaks down. He extends plays. And that's what makes this offense hum. And can we just take a second to appreciate Christian McCaffrey? This dude is out here making history. He just joined an exclusive list of 49ers players who've reached 1,000 yards from scrimmage in the first 8 games of a season. That's names like Roger Craig, Frank Gore, and Garrison Hurst. Now McCaffrey is right there with them. That's elite company. And it doesn't stop there. He also became the second fastest running back in NFL history to hit 5,000 receiving yards. The only guy who did it faster? Marshall Faulk. That's wild. That's greatness. Meanwhile, on defense, there were still some bright spots. Tatum Bethune had a career-high 14 tackles. That's the most by any Niner since Fred Warner had 15 against the Rams last year. He wasn't perfect. There were a few coverage lapses that left everyone scratching their heads, but the guy was flying all over the field. He played with heart, and in a game like that, sometimes that's all you can ask for. When your offense isn't giving you any rest and you're stuck out there for drive after drive, it's brutal. Those defenders were running on fumes, yet they still found ways to keep the game within reach for a while. But here's the thing that really stuck with me. It wasn't just that we lost. It was how messy we looked doing it. It felt like last season all over again. Untidy football, missed tackles, bad penalties, blown assignments. The Texans ran for over 150 yards. They threw for more than 300. They converted 9 of 16 on third down. That's not 49ers football. And honestly, it felt worse than that. If someone told me they converted 15 out of 16 third downs, I would have believed it. It felt like every single third down was a nightmare. The Texans just had confidence. You could see it growing on every play. C.J. Stroud found his rhythm. And once he did, we never took it away. And that's the defensive line's job. Make sure the quarterback never feels comfortable. But our pass rush has been non-existent. We're on pace for 19 sacks this season. 19. Just a couple years ago, Nick Bosa had nearly that many on his own. That's not good enough. Not even close. That's where the conversation shifts to what I like to call a bias toward action. Basically, it's the idea that the front office can't just sit still right now. They have to move. They need to bring someone in, anyone who can generate pressure. Whether it's a trade, a signing, or a rotation adjustment, something has to give. The team can't just hope this pass rush magically fixes itself. The good teams in this league stay aggressive, and the 49ers have to do the same. Now, I'm not saying go trade half the draft for a big-name pass rusher. That would be reckless. But they need to find bodies who can contribute right now. Guys like Arden Key, who already knows this system, or someone versatile enough to play both end and tackle, would be ideal. And while we're on it, this offensive line also needs future investment. Trent Williams won't be around forever, and we can't keep patching holes year after year. The left guard spot still feels like a question mark. The depth isn't great, and we're asking too much of rookies who should be developing instead of being thrown into chaos. There's a lot to fix, no doubt, but there's also a lot to build on. The heart is there. The talent is there. The leadership is there. What's missing is execution, consistency, and a little bit of that killer instinct we used to see every Sunday. This loss stung, but sometimes it's the ugly games that remind you what needs to change the most. You know what's crazy, Niners faithful? The more I've thought about that loss, the more it feels like a wake-up call rather than a disaster. Sometimes a game like that, as ugly as it is, exposes everything you've been trying to cover up with wins. It shows where the cracks are before they become craters. That's exactly what happened here. We saw the truth about the offensive line, the defensive line, and even the rhythm of this team. When you can't protect your quarterback, when you can't get pressure on the other one, football becomes an uphill climb. Every snap feels like a struggle, and that's exactly what it looked like out there. The Texans didn't just beat us, they controlled us. They dictated the pace, they owned time of possession, and they looked like the team that wanted it more. 41 minutes with the football. Let that sink in. That's domination of the clock, and it tells you everything about how this game unfolded. The 49ers are built to win by controlling tempo, grinding defenses down, and keeping the ball out of their opponent's hands. But when the script flips and we're the ones chasing drives, the whole structure collapses. It's not how Kyle Shanahan builds his game plan. We're not designed for comebacks. We're designed for control. That's why these long, punishing games hurt so much. They expose the weakness in our style. Still, I can't sit here and say this team is broken. Far from it. What we saw was a team out of sync, not a team out of talent. The potential is there. The foundation is still strong. But the energy has to come back. You can see when the swagger fades from this group. There was a moment during that game when C.J. Stroud started to smile on the sideline after another long drive, and it hit me. We used to be the team that made quarterbacks look miserable. We used to be the team that broke confidence, not the one giving it away. That has to change, and it starts with attitude. Nick Bosa's injury has obviously left a hole. It's not one you fill easily. You don't just replace that kind of player, that kind of force. But you can replace effort, and that's where coaching comes in. The defensive front needs to rediscover its identity. The schemes aren't hitting right now, and the blitzes look half-hearted. Houston's offense looked comfortable because they were never truly pressured. Stroud was standing tall, scanning, and picking his spots like it was practice. That can't happen again. You can't win football games when the opposing quarterback barely breaks a sweat. And then there's the offense, which just feels out of rhythm without its main pieces. It's like watching an orchestra without a conductor. Brock Purdy isn't just another quarterback in this system. He's the glue. His timing with Christian McCaffrey, with Debo, with Brandon Ayuk, it keeps everything moving. Without him, the offense loses its flow. You can see receivers hesitating on routes, linemen unsure about their blocks, play calls feeling forced instead of instinctive. It's not about individual mistakes. It's about a missing pulse. But there are positives buried in all this mess. Christian McCaffrey continues to be the heartbeat of the offense. Every time he touches the ball, you can feel the momentum shift, even if just for a second. He's not only productive, he's a leader. Watching him celebrate first downs, rally teammates, and push through tackles, you see what elite effort looks like. Guys feed off that energy. If the rest of the team mirrored his intensity, we'd be talking about a win right now. Defensively, even with all the missed tackles and busted coverages, there were sparks. Tatum Bethune's energy was contagious. You could see him trying to lift everyone around him. The Winters had a few tough moments, but also showed flashes of real instinct. This group has youth, speed, and aggression. They just need direction. They need that Fred Warner type of command in the middle to settle everything down. It's not a lack of talent. It's structure. And speaking of structure, let's talk about the offensive line again because it's impossible to ignore. There's effort there, sure, but the chemistry is off. The left guard position still feels unsettled. Trent Williams is the anchor, but even he can only do so much when the rest of the line is inconsistent. You can see the frustration in Kyle Shanahan's face when plays break down too early. He's dialing up smart calls, but without time to execute, nothing works. It's like trying to drive a race car on 3 tires. It doesn't matter how skilled you are behind the wheel. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to 49ers Zone and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the San Francisco 49ers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL rumor mill is swirling like never before, and this one could shake the NFC West to its core. DK Metcalf, the towering touchdown machine wide receiver, is reportedly heading to San Francisco. According to insiders, the 49ers have finalized a deal that could instantly transform their passing game into one of the most dangerous in the league. While nothing is official yet, sources close to the organization hint that the addition of Metcalf is aimed at giving quarterback Brock Purdy, or whoever might be under center, a true vertical threat, someone who can stretch defenses like no one else. Metcalf's combination of size, speed, and hands has made him a nightmare for cornerbacks in Seattle, and fans are already buzzing about the potential fireworks in Levi Stadium. Imagine the 49ers lining up with Metcalf on one side and Debo Samuel on the other, with George Kittle in the middle. Defensive coordinators across the NFL are probably already shaking in their cleats. It's a dream scenario for Kyle Shanahan, who has always excelled at scheming mismatches, and Metcalf's arrival could be exactly what San Francisco needs to dominate in the air and add a new dimension to their already dynamic offense. Of course, with any blockbuster move comes questions. Will Metcalf's style mesh seamlessly with Shanahan's offense? Can the 49ers afford the salary cap implications without sacrificing depth elsewhere? And how will the locker room respond to a new superstar stepping in? Still, early indications suggest that Metcalf is ready to embrace the challenge. And if reports are accurate, he could be turning heads from week 1. As the rumor spreads, social media is exploding with speculation. Some fans are already envisioning Metcalf hauling in jaw-dropping touchdowns, his signature deep catches electrifying the crowd. Others wonder whether this is just a short-term hype or the beginning of a dynasty-level passing attack in San Francisco. Whatever the case, one thing is clear. The 49ers might just have added a game-changing weapon to their arsenal, and the league would be wise to take notice. Keep your eyes peeled. This rumor, if it comes true, could redefine the NFC West entirely. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the San Francisco 49ers, make sure to subscribe to 49ers Zone and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.